So today on Simply Happy Conversations, I have Amy Revell from the Art of Decluttering. She's a leading decluttering and organising expert here in Australia, and she is going to be talking with us today about the freedom of simplicity and decluttering. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks, Zarel. So good to be with you.
Oh, no, it's so great to have you on as a guest. I do listen to your podcast, and I'm sure there's other listeners that listen regularly here that also listen to your podcast as well.
That's the best. It's so nice when you can kind of listen to a lot of different people in the same space and get all the perspectives.
Yeah, get all the ideas. So maybe start so people can get to know you a little bit. If you were a Barbie doll, what two accessories would you come with?
Okay, I'm a bit basic because I want my phone and a block of chocolate. And the reason I want my phone is because I love just being connected with people. Like I'm quite a messenger and I don't love a phone call, but I love just sending texts and messages. And I don't know where I would be now without podcasts. And so that's what my phone is for. And I don't think I need to explain the chocolate, do I?
No, not at all. The dopamine hit, isn't it? That's
It's all there. It's everything I need.
yes, definitely. Oh, my problem at the moment, I'm on this low FODMAP diet, so I can't eat chocolate that has like glucose in it, and it's amazing how many you just can't eat.
Particularly at Easter, that's a bit cruel.
Well, it was. I went, I'll just have one. I'll see if that's all right. No, it was
Um,
terrible. I was like, no,
Disappointing.
okay, I'll go back to these dark chocolates and yes, just stick to the non-glucose. So yeah, I'm very jealous.
Very disciplined is what you are.
Yeah. Oh no, it's that bad that when you eat it, you feel
Okay,
so
right.
sick that you're like, okay, I definitely
Immediate
can't do
feedback
that
loop.
anymore. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you've been doing a renovation lately and it's finished now, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, Narelle, we've handed over the keys 4 days ago and
Okay.
my body is still recovering.
So what strength did you bring to that project as a professional organizer?
Do you know what I didn't bring to the project was clear vision.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so I actually felt like I made things up as I went quite a lot, which ended up being totally fine and a bit of fun, and I was less precious. But I actually thought I would come in and go, when I walk into a client's house, I can always envision this space would look like this and we can declutter that and organize it. And I walked into my reno project and I had very little of that. So the skills that I did bring is I got to make really quick decisions, which I love doing. Like we had to pick all the tiles in the house, and I think it took me 6 minutes.
Oh,
So
wow.
I felt like what I see when I'm out with clients is people really like grind over little decisions that in the end don't make that much of a difference. And so I really liked leaning into the quick decision making. I liked the strength of agility because there were so many things that just went, oh, the plumber's called and this has gone wrong. And you just
Mm.
have to quickly shift and be agile and make a decision and go, okay, well, instead of that, let's do this. So I really enjoyed that. I think the strength of team building, like that was something I intentionally brought to the project. So making the trades feel like they wanted to be on site, that it was an enjoyable experience, providing lots of donuts and that type of thing. um, yeah, and I think too, knowing how to do that project management, knowing when I have to lean in and be on the tools, and then when I need to walk around with a phone, making phone calls and checking off lists. I liked that kind of flicking between the practical and the management side of it.
And I suppose that's some of the stuff that you do by running your own business as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots of things
Yeah.
that transferred over, which was really nice because it reinforced. Oh, you do actually have a strength in this. You don't just fluke it every day.
No, not at all. And what about when you were thinking about storage,
Mm.
what were some of the things that you brought into that project that you already knew?
Okay, so one of the things I notice really significantly when I'm working with clients who are renovating or starting a new build is they put in too much general storage but don't actually think about what the storage is for. So there's so many times I walk into a reno project or a new build and nobody's thought about where they're going to store their surfboard or their shoes or their thermomix, but there is so many cupboards with shelves in that are all exactly the same height.
Yeah.
And
And the
it's like
same depth, I'm sure, as
the
well.
same depth. And you're like, well, unless you're storing sheets in every single cupboard. So one of the things we really thought about is like what types of things would, because it's an investment property, what types of things would a renter be storing? So we had one cupboard that was full height, no shelves, because we were thinking, well, there's no garage. So what if they do need to have a stand-up paddleboard or they want to put a bike in there or they've got fishing rods? Like, let's think about long storage.
Yeah.
And then within the cupboards, it was like, well, let's have more hanging space. Let's have shorter shelves. And so we actually kind of visualize what they would need. Where are they going to put their shoes? Where are they going to put umbrellas? Where are they going to put tools? And I think that that's something you can do even in your own home if you're looking at, redesigning some of your storage, is declutter first so you know what you have, and then design your storage around what you actually use. Like in our house, we don't have very much storage at all, but we do have one what used to be a linen cupboard. And I was like, we don't keep that much linen, but we love board games. So we reconfigured the shelving so that it works for board games. And I think don't just put in like an excess of standard everything's the same storage. Think about what you have and then design for that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I suppose another area is always the bathroom too, is another one that you go into people's homes and they're renters and they're just like, where's the space? There's nothing. It's like a little drawer or, one
Yeah.
cupboard, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think too that sometimes if you've already got the predetermined space, you need to think creatively about what you're going to keep in there. So if you do have a reno project and you can't fit more storage in the bathroom, well, is there storage close by that you can use? Or do you actually need to reduce the quantity of things that you have so that you're not perpetually frustrated with the storage space that you do have? Like you can't, if you want to be at peace with what you've got, something needs to shift.
Yeah, yeah. Which leads beautifully into, I suppose, decluttering and things that you have to consider. And there's always those barriers, isn't there? It's like around quantity
Yeah.
and, of what people have. So, what are some of the barriers that you see around decluttering with people?
You probably see all of these
Oh,
as
I
you
see
walk
it
around.
too, but yeah.
But I think
It's
the
nice to
first,
hear a different perspective, though.
yeah, well, it would just reinforce what you
Yeah.
know, because I think that the first one is always around a sense of I don't know where to start.
Mm,
And there's this overwhelm of, I know what the project needs to be. I know that I want to do it. I know that I need to do it, but I actually have no idea where to start. And so people come at it and they either kind of dive in really energetically and make a whole big mess and then have no idea on what to do from there. And then they're like, well, I regret it now because now everything's out. And so I think that that initial hurdle or barrier of I don't know where to start can really trip people up. I had a client today and she was saying it's been 2 decades that I've wanted to start this project and I didn't know where to start, and I eventually hired you to do a session with me. 2 decades, Terrell.
Oh, no, I hear that all the time. That's what I love when I hear from people. And they say, oh, yeah, I've been thinking about it it's always years. And you're
Yeah.
like, right, okay. And you've put up with that room like that for,
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 years.
It's an understandable barrier, and I guess our industry works really hard to try and to lower that barrier for
Mm,
people to say like, come, we're here, like this is literally what we do,
yep.
this is what we want to help you with, to overcome that initial barrier.
Yeah, definitely. And so what other barriers do you see? We obviously that just overwhelm, but
Yeah.
what else do you see?
I think then once people have overcome the overwhelm, I think the next thing that hits them often is decision paralysis, which is now I don't know what to declutter. And so they might, have a strategy. I've got someone here, or I'm going to work on this particular area. And then they don't kind of I kind of think of it like a decision framework where you can kind of have an item that filters through your framework. And at the bottom, it almost tells you like, keep it, donate it. And
Yeah.
often people just don't have those tools for decision making. And so, it might be something as simple as do I need it? Do I use it? Do I love it? Or it could be, does it spark joy? Or it could be, where would I keep this? Or who have I used it in the last 12 months? Like there's so many different ways that you can create a framework to reduce decision paralysis. But I think that's where most people get stuck, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's like, yeah. And what will happen? Like today, I had a client
Yeah.
and I said, oh, a jar would be really good because then we could put these chocolates in the jar. And she goes, remember we decluttered those about a month ago? And I went, Yes, but we could easily get another one at an op shop. I can
Right.
get you another jar. Remember? Because we had too many. She was like, yes,
Yeah, this is
okay.
not reinforcement that you should have kept all the jars.
No, 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 not at all.
I
But just proving how easy it is to go and get one, though.
yes,
It's, and you didn't need to be keeping the 10 jars just in case.
just in case I came up with the idea of using a jar for this thing.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Um, I think the last barrier that people face is around how to stay organized, because I had 2 phone calls today of clients we hadn't seen for a year. And I think, look, a year, pretty schmick. I think that's really good if you get to a year. But they kind of said, like, things have gotten out of control again. And I think when you're struggling to stay organized, you're often time poor, or the habits aren't in place. And so I think what we want, and gee, I wish this was the case, is that we could get everything organized and then, like, it would stay like that. But you'd have to kick everybody out of the house because that's just not reality. But it is a barrier that people face. They feel like they're forever going around and around and around the spinning wheel, when actually, with some really good habits in place, you can stay organized. And I do think that that's often a barrier for people to feel like they've had success.
Like a year's great to come back. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly every school holidays
Yeah.
doing my own house. It doesn't stay like this unless you continue working at it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And looking at places in the home that need tidying up again.
Yeah, just attending to things
Yeah.
more regularly. Like, it's a ever evolving project that won't finish ever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It does get
And maybe,
easier.
and I think that's maybe what people have the illusion that that's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
look at some of the TV shows, and that is and if you speak to any of the presenters on these shows, they know very well that that's not the case. But the illusion is, and here's your perfectly organized home that you can live in forever. But there
Yeah.
is those habits on, like, how do you keep it that way? What does maintenance look like? What does it look like to engage the members of your family so you don't have to carry the whole burden of making sure that's always in a beautiful state?
Yeah, yeah. And then again, looking at, the different like styles of organizing, how people need them visually, and visiting that, which I'm sure you do as well, a lot of working with, say, neurodivergent families, and looking at the function of the home or the place rather than how beautiful it might look.
And I think you and I are very similar in that, is that
Yeah.
focus on the neurodivergence, where it's like, no, it doesn't need to follow the rules that we think that the house has to have. If
Yeah.
you need that there, then that's okay, because that works for you. And it's about having function, for the individual, not just because Pinterest says this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If
Yeah.
you need a bin in every room in the house, let's put a bin in every room in
That's
the
our
house.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
exactly.
absolutely need that. Or we probably, I don't, we've never tried it without, because I don't want to see how much rubbish would end up on the floor on people's desks.
Yes. Look, we see that every day in other
We
people's
really
homes.
do.
And then
Yeah.
you implement the bin in each room and they're like, wow, why didn't I think of this?
So
It's
good.
such
In
an
fact,
easy approach.
in one of my son's bedrooms, he just seems to, I don't know if he forgets to empty the bin or he just creates a whole lot of rubbish. We actually got him an enormous bin, like a proper big rubbish bin, because we were just sick of picking up rubbish off the floor, and it solved the problem. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
pretty, but it is so functional, and it has reduced all of the arguments and all of the disagreements and all of the stress by having just an enormous bin in his room.
Yeah, that's great. Our little dog has decided she likes their bins because there's always half eaten food in it. And so I've had to go, you guys are only getting small bins because she's getting into the bins. So we need to make sure you're emptying it and
Empty
it's
them
not staying.
regularly.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So what sort of approaches do you use when there are people who are feeling overwhelmed? Maybe also around like the emotional attachment to items,
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
isn't it?
And I think a lot of professional organizers would resonate with this, is you build your toolkit over time. So, I mean, I've been a professional organizer for nearly 11 years, and I've built my toolkit based on different people at different stages. Like, I know that with some people, I can play a game, not a manipulative game, like an actual, like, let's have fun, let's be competitive, let's play a game. And other people, I need to take the soft and sentimental approach, and other people you need to be a little bit more direct with. And so I think that it's important that the strategies kind of change with the person that you're working with. But I also think it can be helpful to have guidelines that then you've got your toolkit, But if you've got kind of a foundational, here are the guidelines, then you can work around that. So we use the 5 R's, which is rubbish, rehome, return, repurpose, and remain. And we're like, every item in your home fits into one of those 5 categories. So if someone feels stuck, we might say, well, let's just focus on rubbish, or let's just focus on items that need to be rehomed. So they're just in the wrong room. Or we can say to someone, if you're not sure, pick up an item and check which of these 5 does it belong in. So sometimes by having kind of that framework, it enables people to like link into it, and it gives them some rules, because there are no rules with decluttering.
Yeah.
And I don't want there to be like really strict, rigid rules. But I think sometimes we do just need guidelines to help us make those decisions.
Yeah. And those 5 things are like, depending on the person's mental state that day, it might be that just that we can only pick up rubbish
Yeah.
today, because there's no way we can make a decision whether we're keeping or letting something go.
Yeah.
But we can make a decision about rubbish possibly.
Yeah, and I think that it's really helpful to be able to talk with people about what their capacity is.
Yes.
And sometimes, like, I really enjoy talking to people about identifying the problem, because what can happen, before we were talking about how, the clutter just sometimes comes back, or a room gets messy again. And identifying what the problem is can be really helpful. So I talk about there being a quantity problem, a
Mm.
systems problem, or a habits problem. And so if there's a quantity problem, we just need to reduce the quantity. And so it might just be, and I did this with a client yesterday, is that all we're going to do for the next hour is fill bags for things with donation. We're not going to organize. We're not going to go deep diving in any particular category. I just want to see if we can get a couple of hundred items out in the next hour. And she was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It's like I'm on a treasure hunt for donatable items. I was like, great, let's do it. So that was a quantity issue. And then sometimes it's just a systems issue. So they're going, oh, there's books all over the floor. And you're like, yeah, but your bookshelves are full of, I don't know, like dog toys, which are up too high and not being used. So actually the system isn't working. It's not that there's a quantity issue. You've got the right quantity. You just don't have somewhere for it to live. It's an organizational issue. And then sometimes I think we've got this maintenance issue, which is around habits and going, okay, I think it's just that nobody puts that back where it belongs. And so what I'm sure you would do, Narelle, too, is say, instead of just making everybody put it back where it belongs, where's everybody putting it? Let's make that the home.
Yes.
Like,
That's
let's
the
not
function.
complicate
Let's
it.
change it. Yeah. Let's just change it. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. There's no point in putting things where you are not going to do it. If it's got to be too many steps is another thing. I'm like, let's just move it to here. It doesn't have to be
No.
where you normally may think you have to keep something. If
Yeah.
it's, near the lounge area and that's where everyone is, then let's just put it there.
I love it. That's the freedom, isn't it? Of going,
Yeah.
it's your home. No, the police are not going to turn up and say, oh, no, 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 that's not where shoes are kept.
Yeah.
You get to decide.
Yeah, yeah. Where you're going to keep those things in your home. And I
Yeah.
love that. I don't know. You probably, I'm sure you do the same. Is it's like, where does it come in your head? Where do you first think I would put that?
Yeah.
Because it's not where I'm going to put it. And if they do get stuck, I will be like, well, if you ask me, this is where I would put it. And then if you text me and said, Narelle, where did we put that? This is where my first instinct would be. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean that that's yours. So it's like, where would you put it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to think of it. Or if they can't find something else, where did you look first? Because where
Yeah.
you looked first is
Yes.
where your brain says it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. So move it to there.
Go relocate it. So next time it is where you look for it.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So with you, what about, do you ever have like working with couples or families where there's been some conflict? So have you got ways to deal with that conflict? Because I can already picture it. It's like, they say the clutterbug styles, and it's one person who likes the toaster out, and then the others all want it put away and don't want to be able to see it. And so how have you worked around some of those conflict things that might be going on? Or there's the one person's really sentimental and wants to hold on to
Mm.
every child's picture and artwork, and there's just not
And
enough
tooth
space.
and piece of hair
Yes,
and
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've stood in the middle of some fairly hefty family and couple conflicts over the years, and it's never aggressive towards me, but it is
No,
often frustrated and unheard. And why don't you do things like I do it to whoever is in the family? And my advice when people are working together is like, just focus on your own stuff to start off with. Like, don't have any judgment on the other person, because they're not you. They don't think like you do. They haven't been brought up like you do. They don't, their brain isn't looking for things that the way that you do. And so if you can become an encourager rather than a like, oh my gosh, why do you do it that way? It makes a really, really big difference, because once you're dealing with your own stuff, you start to realize, oh, maybe I am more sentimental. I'm just judgmental of my partner's sentimentality, but it's fine when it's mine, because my dad passed away. And so it's okay that I want to keep all the cards from him, but your dad's still around. Why are you keeping it? Like, we're
Yes.
so judgmental in a very unfair way. And so I think that there's a lot more peace when you deal with your own stuff and then actually talk about why something is important. And so I'll often say to clients, it's not actually about whether the toast is on the bench or not. Why don't you explain why it's important to you that it's on the bench? And why don't you explain why it's important to you that it's away? And let's then see if we can come to an agreement. Because it might be, it's really important to me that it's away. I find it so stressful that I'm cooking dinner every night and that bench space is taken up by something that doesn't need to be there for 23 and a half hours a day. And the other person's like, actually, you know what? You do cook dinner. And so I'm going to default to you because I just like it there because it's easier in the morning. So once you actually have the conversation about the why, you start to be able to see each other's perspectives, and it no longer is about the toaster. It's actually about like, okay, what's fair, what's reasonable, where can I compromise, where can I yield to what you need because I love you more than I love my own opinion about a toaster.
And it's, I don't know if you find this, but it's like when you have kids and they're decluttering the toys. And I love when there's a mum or the dad's there, because they're like, oh, but remember grandma gave you that, or so-and-so gave you that. And it's like, hang on a second, who's decluttering? Is it you or them? You wanted them, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's where you really see the decluttering and that, the different ways of doing it evident, I find, when you're working with kids and adults together.
You have to call it out sometimes, though, don't you,
Yes.
Narelle, and say,
Oh,
like,
definitely.
in this situation, does your child have autonomy over their own items? And then if the parent is standing there going, no, but that was really important, we got that on our trip to blah, 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 we'll say to the parent, would you like to keep that in your special box? No,
Yes.
they should keep it. But they don't want it. You want it. It's now they're giving it to you. It's not your possession.
Yeah.
And where are you going to keep this item now?
Yes,
It's a
definitely.
big one.
It is, isn't it? But that's where I definitely see the conflict start coming up, is when there's, between kids and adults during school holidays, isn't it? When they get you in to come and help sort out toys and clothes and things like that.
Yeah, you really see it flare up. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, Amy, how can people connect with you? What's a couple of ways? Because you're also an author. You also have a book as well.
If you just search on any platform, The Art of Decluttering, you're going to find me. So I've got a podcast, check out the website, buy my book, do all the things. Just search The Art of Decluttering on YouTube or a podcast app or Google or wherever you like, and I will pop up.
And one other, I just thought of it. Also, the course that's available for people to do if they're interested in becoming a professional organizer, because you were part of that as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's the first nationally accredited module in professional organising in Australia. And so if you go to my website, there's a button that says courses, and it just says professional organizer training. Heaps and heaps of people have been doing it over the last few months, and it's exciting that it's just a baby step, Narelle. It's a baby step towards actually having full accreditation for us. But I think every step to help our industry grow and be recognised for the incredible work that we do is a really helpful step in the right direction.
Oh, no, definitely. I completely agree. I think it's a fantastic thing that we've put together and, as a collective, supporting each other.
Yeah, it's not just me writing the course. There's lots of other professional organisers that we brought in who do an incredible job as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for your time and sharing your knowledge and your stories as well.
It's been my pleasure. We had so much fun.